Hello, Old Gun Guy here. Welcome to my video tonight, or today, on the Remington 6.8 SPC cartridge, and also known as 6.8 by 43mm, referring to the case length, the metric designation. Here would be an empty case. Extremely well designed and useful cartridge. Originally designed as a joint venture between Remington and the Special Operations Command in the United States Army and the Marksmanship Unit. And I believe one of their gunsmiths and one of their master sergeants in the unit developed this cartridge. The Special Operations Command was seeking a more effective round, increased effect and lethality over the 5.56 NATO round that's standard in the M4 carbines. As the M4, the shortened barrel version of the original M16, the 14-inch barrel version, became standard, it really put a chink in the 223's terminal performance, as it's really dependent on how fast it impacts something for its effect. They wanted a cartridge that would have greater range and power over the 5.56, would fit into the standard M4 platform or the AR-15 platform with minimal change of parts, and they achieved that. They really did a really nice job designing this cartridge. And minimal loss of ammunition capacity in the standard type magazines that will fit in the gun. A standard 30-shot 5.56 magazine is only reduced to 26 rounds in the 6.8 SPC. The 20-round format, I think, is 15 or 16 rounds. The 6.8 will hold. The only thing you need to convert an AR, build one, is a barrel, a bolt, and a different magazine. It's got a different follower and feed lips to feed correctly with the 6.8 SPC. But other than that, the cartridge is essentially the same overall length as the 5.56. There's the 6.8 and then the 5.56. See them there. Okay, I'll compare it to the 308, put them in between there. It's classified as an intermediate power rifle cartridge like the 223, whereas the 308 is a full power rifle cartridge. But 5.56, 223, 6.8 SPC, 7.62 or 308, 7.62 NATO, or 7.62 by 51. They reach back into the early 20th century for Remington created a series of cartridges for their semi-auto loading Model 8 gun that they come out with in the early 20th century. It was a 25 Remington, 25 caliber, the 30 Remington, they had a 32 caliber Remington. I believe they all shared the same head diameter, rim diameter here, 420 thousandths of an inch. And the only one that survives today is the 35 Remington, but it's on a slightly bigger case. Non-standard, but bigger rim than the 30 Remington. They blew out the shoulder and necked it down to basically 277 thousandths of an inch, which is the same projectile diameter as the very famous 270 Winchester. It's funny how the military has come back to this caliber, even from the beginning of the early part of the 20th century when they developed the M1 Garand. I believe Garand, the designer, or they wanted to switch to a 276 Pedersen cartridge. It's around 7mm. It's slightly bigger than the 270. But after the war in Iraq started, they were having issues with the effectiveness of the 5.56. So this is how this came out with the Special Operations Command. Currently, the modern military is back to that same caliber, the 277 Fury that they're going to field. But it's in a bigger rifle, a 308 size AR-10 style platform, and it's loaded to crazy chamber pressures, like 80,000 pounds per square inch. The 6.8 operates just like the 223, 55,000 PSI max. The 277 Fury, if I read it right, they use all that pressure to get the basically a 270 Winchester velocity out of shorter barrel rifles. But it's an interesting development. The reason the military never switched over to this better cartridge, the 6.8, was the bureaucracy. The same reason they didn't switch from 3006 to the 276 Pedersen back in after World War One. They had bajillions of rounds of 3006, so inertia. Same thing with the modern military. You have bazillions of rounds of 5.56, so to switch to another caliber, it's quite difficult. It started out as a quasi-military cartridge or paramilitary cartridge. It's now been commercially released, and it makes a fine hunting cartridge for animals up to the size of white-tailed deer. The useful bullet ranges in the cartridge are 90 to about 130 grains. It fires the same diameter projectile as the 270 Winchester, and the round achieves about 45% more energy over the 223 from 1 to 300 meters. That's quite a step up. It pushes about 1,750 foot-pounds of energy from a 115 grain bullet. With the 115 grain Sierra match chain bullet in this cartridge, it'll basically track the 308 trajectory out to about 500 yards within an inch or two, with that cartridge firing 168 grain Sierra match chain. So it's extremely useful in a very small package. They make bolt action rifles and different type hunting rifles. If you can use an AR-15 or a semi-automatic rifle hunting, obviously you could convert your AR. You can buy it today. You can buy an upper. If you have an AR platform rifle in this caliber with a bolt carrier group complete, just swap it out and you have two rifles on one receiver. The rifle I'm going to use today, I built that of parts about 15 years ago. When the cartridge first came out, it intrigued me, so I believe the barrel was Silver State Armory, 16-inch barrel I got, and I put it together with various parts I had, laying around. The 6.8 SPC is superior in velocity and accuracy to the 7.62x39, the Russian round. It's very much more accurate. Every time I fired this gun, it's hands down accurate over any AK I've ever fired. Like I said, I've hand loaded for it. There's limited data floating around. There's more now, but years ago. I mean, I'll include the reloading data that I didn't use any reloads. I'm not going to use any reloads for this test because I don't have any. I shot them all up. But these are some that I've tested in this particular rifle. I'll go over a rifle in a second. IMR 4227 powder, 22.7 grains with a Sierra at 90 grain hollow point, 2,700 feet a second. And accurate arms 2200, 28.6 grains, Sierra 110 grain Game King, and 2675 out of 16-inch barrel. And those are completely safe in my rifle. I would start a couple of grains lower and build up if you're going to hand load it. A current load with Ogden CFE 223. Starting load is 30 grains, and a max charge is 33.6 for 115 grain Spear Gold Dot. And it maxes out about 2,770 feet a second. The cartridge is extremely efficient. It doesn't really lose velocity or gain velocity with barrel length. was designed for short barrel guns. Out of a 24-inch barrel, you're going to get 2,800 feet a second out of the 110 grain Nosler AccuBond, loaded max. And you cut that down to 20-inch, it's roughly the same, and 16-inch, it only goes down to 2,700. And I think even the shorter barrel guns, it loses a lot less velocity. It has only a tiny amount more recoil than the 5.56. You can notice it, but it's very minor. You can notice the difference between the two. With a rifle they use today, basically a collection of parts here. 16-inch barrel, modern sporting rifle, AR carbine. It's got Magpul furniture on it. Silver State barrel, I believe it's 1 in 10 twist. Years ago when I put this together, it came out this linear muzzle brake, and it intrigued me, and that's what's on this gun. It's got vents internally, and it vents everything out the front of the barrel behind the bullet. Nothing out the sides. It doesn't kick up dust. I have a combination gas block flip up front sight and flip up aperture rear sights and backup sights. It's a A2 forward assist upper, Magpul, buttstock, Magpul grip. I Duracoated this in desert sand or sand color years ago. Like I said, I built it probably 15 years ago. It's got a rail. It's got a quick detach Burris pepper mount with the locking levers. Pops on and off real quick. It holds a 0 too. Inexpensive build. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get an accurate, good shooting firearm. The scope, it's about a $200 Redfield Battle Zone optic, 3x9 power. It's got milliradian hash marks internally, but it's an MOA scope. It's clear. I've shot this gun out to 500 yards on a public range, and it was on the money. The 3x9 power. I get the Butler Creek flip up scope caps, and basically you can buy a complete upper, so you don't have to build anything. Just push 2 pins out and swap calibers. It's a very useful caliber. This rifle could actually deer hunt with in jurisdictions that allow semi-automatics, and I would never hunt deer with a 223. I know some people do that, but that's not me. The old saying, use enough gun. I wouldn't go anything bigger than whitetail with that, but it's useful. That fun plinking cartridge. When I test, I can put my cheesy Caldwell brass catcher on there because I don't want to lose the brass. Because, like I said in other videos, ammo's expensive and hard to find, and even the components are hard to find anymore. I've never seen such a shortage of components and parts in my 45 years of shooting. Primers, you can't get primers, you can't get powder, you can't get powder, you can get projectiles. It's pretty crazy. The 2 ammunitions I'm going to use are one Seller and Below. They're a Czech company. I keep referring to them as Czechoslovakian, but I'm that old where it was Czechoslovakia. It's now the Czech Republic and Slovenia. It's full metal jacket bullet, 110 grain. And then I have Hornady 6.8 SPC, 110 grain bolt tail hollow point match ammunition. And that's that. And that's the S&B. And I'm going to put it through the normal paces I usually do in my videos. Chronograph. I'm going to fire 2 rounds of each because of the ammo situation. If I was testing a hand load or I was testing ammunition, I'd fire 5-6 shots over the screens, and get the standard deviation, and I don't go into the weeds with all that, but two is enough to give me an idea how, the velocity that each is generating. The Hornady box says 2550 on the box, and it's Hornady's good ammo. It's probably right in the ballpark there with the 110 grain projectiles. I'll do a comparative recoil test. I have a second camera I'm going to run. It's actually a duplicate of this one. I got it real cheap. And if there's any footage I can use, I'll just add it on in sequence, whatever test I'm doing. I'll do the ballistic pendulums there, the 8-inch steel plates on rubber straps, 223. I'll use an AR too, same barrel length, just apples to apples. And recoil comparison, 223, 6.8. Thermal effects test. I'm gonna try and shoot both rounds if I have enough water jugs. The Hornady hollow point boat tail match. If it was a military round, it would be called open tip match because of the Geneva protocols. There's a lot of fine 277 hunting bullets if you're gonna load or buy ammunition or go deer hunting, because the 270 Winchester's been around a very long time. And that's a very fine cartridge also. It's funny how everything old is new again. With the new military round basically duplicating the 270 Winchester. But that's what's great about America. Everyone wants to build a better mousetrap. So a lot of experimentation going on. We'll put it through the paces. I'm going to do a 100-yard accuracy test with the two projectiles. 5-shot groups each one, and we'll see how that comes out, and we'll go to the tests. Back here, I do my chronograph test. The 16-inch barreled AR 6.8 SPC. First ammo, you're going to take 2 shots off the chronograph because ammo is expensive and hard to find. 6.8 SPC, 110 grain boat tail hollow point match from Hornady. On the box it says 2550. We'll see what I get. And I keep calling it Czechoslovakia, but it's the Czech Republic now. Celia and below, good ammo. 110 grain full metal jacket. No info on what the expected velocity is. I'll do 2 shots. First up Hornady, and the following 2 shots will be the Solar and below. We'll note the velocity. I'm going to put the camera on the chronograph and set this up. Okay, that's our velocities. Pull this out. Okay, that's our velocities. 2500, 2550 range. About what it says on the box, so we'll cover that in the summary. Okay, I'm back. Comparative recoil test, apples to apples. 16-inch barreled AR clone, 223, 5.56, and then the 6.8 SPC. 1 shot each. Let me get the other rifle. And now the 6.8 SPC. Slightly more, but not really a lot. Okay, comparative energy test. 223 center plate, 16-inch barreled AR, 16-inch barreled 6.8 SPC on the right plate. And let me get the rifles and we'll start. Alright, 223 first, center plate. And there we have it. Quite a bit more energy on the 6.8 SPC. Harder to the plates. Okay, this is going to be our 100-yard accuracy test off the bench with the 6.8 by 43 SPC cartridge using Hornady 110 grain boat tail hollow point match. And I'm going to set the camera up on a target. Okay, I'm at the 100-yard target. I'm going to shoot the upper right with the 110 grain Hornady match ammo, open hollow point boat tail. And the bottom left, I'll shoot the cellular and below 110 grain full metal jacket and see how the gun groups at 100 yards. So let me set that up and I'll walk back to the shooting bench. And a nice group with the Hornady open tip match. That was probably me. And this is the silver and below 110 grain full metal jacket. Now the S&B. S&B, selling it below 110 full metal jacket. Bottom left. Once in a while. I'm going to do the thermal effects test. It's water jugs, milk jugs full of water. They're about 6 inches in depth. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and a couple other water jugs in the back. Ballistic gel is 90% water and 10% gel, and that's the medium they use for testing bullets. Obviously it's expensive, it's a lot easier to set up. The ratio for gel to water, as far as penetration, is roughly 2/3, 70%. So if it goes through 12 inches of water, it's about 8 or 9 inches of gel, roughly. That's the comparison. But it gives you an idea of similar effect of bullets if you keep using a consistent medium. 6-inch water jug, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, second 6-inch water jug, piece of hardboard in case the bullet starts tumbling, 6-inch water jug, a 1x8 piece of pressure treated because I'm running out of plywood, another water jug, another piece of pressure treated wood, and a couple water jugs in the back. And we'll see if we can capture the bullet. I'm going to zoom this camera in on it and take one shot, and we'll see how it goes. 400, 110 grain boat tail hollow point match ammunition. 110 grain, 6.8 SPC. Okay, that was interesting. Blew the first jug up. Complete fragmentation in the second jug. The remains of the projectile are in there. Went a little low. Put the bottom of the plywood. Did blow a hole through that. I'm going to repeat this test. I'm going to use the SNB full metal jacket and shoot a little higher and see what we see. Just to recap, jug 1, a lot of energy imparted, blew it up. Went through the plywood, hit it low, blew up the fragments of the bullet are in the bottom of the jug jacket and the lead core, and I'll retrieve that. Okay, the 110 grain S&B full metal jacket. Okay. Zoom this out. Vaporized the first jug and it started tumbling. You can see the bullet going through sideways through the 3/4 inch ply. Alright, bullet's starting to tumble. Didn't hit the piece of 1x8 at all. We'll pull the 3 jugs up. And this little piece of hardboard, you can see it going upward and going sideways through the hardboard. So basically the bullet held together, penetrated more than the open tip match, and obviously imparted a lot of energy from the jugs. And that'll be our terminal effects test, and I'll cover it all in a summary. 10 grain S&B full metal jacket. Okay, I'm back for this summary on our 6.8 Remington SPC cartridge and AR-15 video, if you will. More so about the cartridge. The AR-15 or modern sporting rifle or AR-15 platform is ubiquitous today. It's all over the place. Very common platform and rifle. And easy to build, so that's what I use for this video as a test platform for the cartridge, which is a very useful cartridge. Originally designed as an infantry cartridge for special operations forces. It exceeds well at a lot of tasks. All firearms are tools. Its primary original use was for combat or used for soldiers. Is it an excellent self-defense cartridge? I would say yes. Accurate, hard-hitting, within its design parameters, and the platform it's shot out of. Intermediate power rifle cartridge out of a AR or M4 style rifle. It's evolved into a good hunting cartridge, especially for someone, a youngster, a teenager, just getting into hunting. There's many fine and inexpensive rifles, bolt action that you can obtain in this caliber. And well, if you're recoil sensitive, or you got arthritis or some other physical problem where recoil bothers you, it's a very fine cartridge for game up to the size of whitetail, coyotes, fox, whatever you're gonna hunt, groundhogs, whitetail. We went through the test. We did the chronograph results with the two ammunitions I had. Cellular below, 110 grain full metal jacket, and the Hornady match ammunition, hollow point bow tail match, 110 grain, both fired 110 grain projectiles. The chronograph results were the Hornady at a 16-inch barrel, my particular rifle. Your mileage might vary. Everything will vary slightly from rifle to rifle. 110 grain hollow point bow tail match. The velocity for the two shots average was 2,511 feet a second, and the energy foot-pounds was 1,666 foot-pounds of energy. The cellular below was a little faster. The velocity, 110 grain full metal jacket projectile. Velocity was 2,551, and the energy bumped up to 1,720 feet a second. Some of my near max hand loads with the 110 grain bullet hit 2750 out of that particular firearm. The 16-inch barreled AR platform. We then went to the comparative recoil test. I fired a 16-inch barreled AR platform in 223 and followed by the 6.8 SPC AR. Obviously, slight difference in recoil, very slight. You can notice the difference between the two, but it's negligible. Both of the rounds. They're not going to beat you up. Had the comparative energy test with the 8-inch steel plates on the rubber straps, like ballistic pendulums. The 5.56 center plate, imparts its energy, and then the 6.8, it's quite noticeable the amount of energy it dumps into the plate and knocks it, and the amount of distance it knocks it. We then went to, I'm at a step here, but we had our accuracy test. We fired the horny match ammo first. And I included footage because I had two cameras running, so they were in sequence. When I'm firing at the 100-yard target, and I have one camera on me actually shooting the string. You can actually see the recoil off the bench is nothing. My brass catcher, the Caldwell, it works good. It's a net mesh bag, but the Velcro straps around the forend kept hanging up on the rest and picking it up. So I didn't have the steadiest of rests. And another thing I should note with the rifle, the trigger pull scale, it's got just a stock bare bones AR-15 trigger set in it, and the pull is 9.5 pounds with a little bit of creep, so it ain't a sniper trigger. But even with that, the gun performs very admirably. My first 5 shots, that was my second shot, but this is the group here. It's if I had to measure, it's about 1.25 inches. Let's be exact here. .17 inches, so not even 1.25 inches on 4 shots. This, I believe, I threw a little on the second shot. I think I just slipped. So that was me, not the rifle. But you can see that's just a slightly off MOA. If we discard that one, that's a good group. The second group, the S&B, these are the first 3 shots, and they're about a 1.5 MOA, a little less, 1 1/3. Sometimes that brass catcher will kick around back into doesn't clear the port, and hung the gun up. So I had to, it's in the video how I had to clear the action, reload the gun, and that little bit of threw me off. So the second 2 were probably me, trying to rush. But if I reshot the group, I'm sure the S&B would be 1.5 MOA of that gun, and that's really good accuracy for an inexpensive rifle build. And inexpensive scope. Scope is maybe $200, and that glass is plenty clear at the 500 yards. If I ever do a follow-up video, if I get a chance, I'll bring my camera out to the public range where I can shoot steel from 2, 4, 5, and 600 yards. Plates and little torsos, and I don't know if the camera can capture it, but if I'm able to do that, I'll perhaps do a follow-up video with that. We did a thermal effects test, and the open tip match ammunition, one shot, I shot a little low. I have the piece of plywood. There's a water jug, a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulates bone. Anything goes through plywood's, a 3/4 inch piece of plywood is lethal. The bullet completely fragmented it and blew up in the second jug, and fragments actually exited, and they caught some of the fragments in the bottom of the jug, but that was the first shot. Blew completely through, basically vaporized the jug, and these are the only little fragments I got left. I recovered. It'll show up on the paper here. It's a piece of the lead, the jacket, the core. You can actually see the base of the bullet, the core, as it fragmented apart. A couple of pieces of jacket, and this is some of the plywood that was blown into the jug. Plywood, core, little pieces of jacket. That's all that was left of that bullet, and basically dumped all of its energy into 2 jugs and a piece of plywood. The 110 grain full metal jacket, S&B round, basically a military type bullet. Bullet held together, basically blew up 3 jugs. Destroyed the first jug. In the first jug, you can see the bullet, when it exited, it was going sideways. It was tumbling already in the first 6 inches of water. And it was the same piece of plywood. I just flipped it upside down, and that's the exit. But that's the entrance. You can see it's not a clean bullet hole. It's going through the plywood sideways. So the bullet is tumbling and flipping Blew the second jug up really good, and the third jug, and knocked everything off the table. The piece of hardboard captured the bullet going sideways, but it was high. I think it overshot the rest of the jugs and the boards, but it's completely sideways. So the bullet's just tumbling, flipping, and but it held together. Either one would be highly effective on if you're using it in self-defense, either round, either projectile. Obviously, either one of them projectiles are not suitable for hunting game animals or deer. You want an expanding, hunting bullet designed to controlled expansion and penetrate adequately, so you can get a humane kill on your game animal. So that was interesting. No recoil, plenty of energy, accurate, fun to shoot. Obviously, all ammunition is expensive today. The 7.62x39, obviously, since the Russian-Ukraine war, all that ammunition's gone. There's no cheap Wolf or Tooler or anything coming into the country, as far as I can find out. The 7.62x39 I have seen is almost expensive as a 308. Brass case stuff. PMC is important in some of the other companies. So if you're going to shoot an intermediate rifle, something more powerful than a 223, this would be my choice, the 6.8 SPC. The 300 Blackout is also another excellent paramilitary, quasi-military cartridge for that platform. That was initially designed as a 300 Whisper for suppressors, used with suppressed weapons, and it's morphed into the 300 AAC Blackout. Now it's standardized by SAMI. Very useful cartridge. But if I wanted something that had a little, pretty flat shooting and effective, you can't beat the 6.8 SPC. And the rifle, like I said, even when it's 9.5 pound trigger, creepy trigger I got in it, I really should put a better trigger in it. Maybe I will one of these days. And the 16-inch barrel length, perfectly adequate. Handy little rifle. You could go hunting with it. Property defense, home defense, yes, adequate. Obviously, when you're using any type of rifle inside a house, you gotta know your backstop. But the open tip match rounds, they fragmented pretty good. So I wonder what the penetration won't be as bad as like you find a full power rifle cartridge in your house. God forbid you have to do that. But versatile round. And if you have a AR-15 or a 223, you could have a second caliber gun without buying another gun. You just get an upper and snap it on. And that was the purpose of this video, a little bit of demonstration of the cartridge and its versatility. And it's a good cartridge for getting a kid into shooting. It doesn't, for hunting, you're going to bring him hunting. Obviously, if you're just going to plink, the 223 is fine too, no recoil. But that'll be it for our 6.8 SPC Remington or 6.8 by 43mm cartridge video, and AR-15 platform or modern sporting rifle video. And that's Old Gun Guy signing off. Have a good night.